Welcome to your doom. Shut it and get over here. Massive uppercut!
Hello and welcome to another edition of the JabJab Show. And today I just want to talk about some magazine closures. Now I subscribe to a magazine called Retro Gamer. The latest one came through the post a few days ago, and in the magazine it mentions that the other magazines, GamesTM and also Games Master are gonna close. I'm guessing the circulation figures have gone too far down now, which caused them to come to these decisions. Now, I have a big history of buying magazines. Buying magazines most of my life. I do want to share my thoughts and all the rest of it in a few other videos separate to this, because I realise it's just a big part of me growing up, a big part of my life kind of thing. Now, these two magazines, GamesTM and Games Master, I didn't really buy them that much at the time. When they're out. I preferred other magazines. I'll go into a bit more details. Give a brief history. As I'll mention this on a few videos in the past. I grew up with the Spectrum, Zenix Spectrum 48K, and graduated to the 128K. I started getting Spectrum magazines at the time. You got Crash, your Sinclair user. I got Commodore 64. Started buying Commodore format as well. Gravitated towards the Sega Mega Drive. I got a ton of magazines coming out for that at the time. Again, I can list them all, but I will cover them in more detail. In other videos. Also, as well as all these Sega magazines, you also had multi-platform magazines. You had your computer video games. You had from America, you had Electronic Games Monthly, which you got now and again. You got Mean Machines, and you got there's others as well, which I kind of forgot about until recently when I dug into my little archive of magazines. But as I say, these magazines come out. The Games Master came out. This is, as I say, with the thumbnail, you see, this is issue 1 of Games Master. It might be a bit shiny. I'll make sure that the shine's on it. This is issue 1. This is from January '93. For those of you who don't know, Games Master was also a TV show. One of the many TV shows aimed at video games. For the style at the time. So I was big into video games. So I was watching like this. There's a Bad Influence, and there's a whole host of others. As well, but Games Master I really liked, and I thought, well, there's a magazine about Games Master, that'd be pretty cool to watch, but I quickly learned. I got a few of these over the years. I kept hold of this one being issue 1. I didn't, to be honest. I preferred others mainly because I'm just gonna have a little sample that come out, a little review of Master's World Championship for the Super Nintendo, no, for the Amiga actually. So obviously from 1993, it covered modern games as they were back then. I've lost that page now, but here's one about Axley on the Super Nintendo. Yeah, Axley on the Super Nintendo. Now it may or may not be apparent on there. Depending on your personal preference. I find the whole magazine, apart from obviously advertisements, but the whole editorial a bit too busy, too many things on the page, and it's a bit, for my eyes, felt a bit cluttered kind of thing. I likened it to if you were around when MySpace was around, obviously before Facebook and so forth. The whole one of the big things about MySpace was about being able to just design your own web page, basically design your own profile page, and some of them they were just too busy. You had too many things going on, too many videos playing, too many this, too many that, and I couldn't quite handle the amount of information, the amount of graphics and things thrown at me. So I preferred the cleaner version of Games Master, of magazines and so forth. The colour schemes and all the rest of it. That's my eye for detail. Don't get me wrong. I love reading and stuff, but it needs to be kind of legible. Legible as in I personally can see it. What I'm saying is Games Master magazine didn't really do it for me, Plus, I prefer at the time is Mean Machines and computer and video games. Okay, I'll go into more detail, as I say, in other videos about those magazines. So you know, got these now and again, like I say, and the Sega magazines you know, spoke of as well, and also back in 93, 94, I think it was 90. I'm not sure. I'll put in the captions when I actually was. There's a magazine called Edge come out. Now, if people who don't know Edge are also a multi-platform magazine. I didn't start buying it at the time. Because I was into the other magazines, as I say. Eventually, at some point, I started looking at Edge. Now, Edge magazine, just give me 1 minute. Edge is still going today. Edge magazine. Now, this is Edge. This is one of them from 2002. This is the Super Mario Sunshine review magazine. I've got a few others. And basically, other magazines kind of talked about, you know, they all, you know, you got to understand the readership of the time, the kind of like the way video games were perceived as a spotty teenager, kind of like, you know, pastimes. I mean, I certainly kind of like, you know, was their demographic. This is again from 2002, so I think the editorials, you know, the design has changed slightly over the years. You know, magazines do have like little design kind of updates every now and again, keep with the times. But here we go. This is let's make sure that's in. I'm not sure if you can read any of that. Basically, Burnout 2. This is a preview for Burnout 2 for the PlayStation 2. Okay, you know, again 2002. This is like, you know, cause can't read modern games. Now, started getting this. This is like, you know, and what shocked me about this was like, you know, for me it took a more serious approach, more mature approach, if you will. Well, you know, at the end of the day, video games, you know, old, new, whatever, are there to have fun with and stuff. But you know, this is the editorial style. So I think, you know, still to this day, it's still kind of a serious kind of look at things. Had opinion pieces and things like that, you know, which the other magazines didn't really have. I mean, they had opinions on games and stuff, but they didn't have any kind of outside of view at developers and things like that. You know, they were in a way a bit more disposable, I felt, towards Edge. Now, as I say, I got Edge. Me and one of my friends were big into video games back in the day. We'd buy Edge, where, you know, every issue and pour over the details and so forth. But the thing is, you know, my point is, like, you know, there's a magazine, another magazine came out, GamesTM, which, as I mentioned, you know, is closing down. Now, GamesTM appeared to me was going for the same kind of editorial, same kind of thing as Edge. Now, me and my friend, as I say, we're big fans of Edge. You know, we'd get this religiously every month. You know, and we both felt initially that who the F are these other people, GamesTM people, kind of try and get into Edge's territory. We felt affronted by this, you know. You can't do this. It sounds silly to you. It might sound silly to have this kind of opinion, like how dare they tread on Edge's shoes, creative toes kind of thing. So it's kind of like, you know, we kind of boycotted the magazine for a while. I think eventually my friend did start buying one or two, because I mean, the thing, all these magazines that I mentioned were commenting on the games of the day. You know, you got to think, you know, even in the early 2000s, there was no, to my knowledge, there was no retro game style magazine. You know, you had fanzines I'd read about in the classifieds, and some of them, you know, fanzines just send you £3 or £2 or whatever off to wherever, and they send you a little fanzine, a little black and white copy of this is what the Spectrum was like, this is what this is like, that kind of thing. But you know, you got to think of the age of video games. Certainly back in the early 90s up to the early 2000s, there wasn't really anything there. But what I'm saying is, the Edge and GamesTM, what also kind of made them similar was they had a section. I think they still have a section of, you know, the retro games. You know, So just give me 1 minute. So in each issue they have like a making of or a history of kind of thing, with, you know, retro inspired. Now, as I say, I didn't buy any GamesTM magazines. It was but I have these. I have retro. These are bookazines. This is volume 10. I have all of them for GamesTM. What it is a collection of their little sections from the magazines and just reprinted into a handy bookazine. So for example, this is Metroid sequels ranked from best to worst. I might. There you go. It's got obviously write-ups on each one of them. Now, so I'm happy buying these because as you may know, obviously I'm into retro games and stuff. So I'm perfectly happy buying these as opposed to the magazine itself and just skipping pages, because modern games, but I prefer the retro. That's what I grew up with and stuff. Now obviously these magazines are now going. Now okay, with the advent of the internet, what that's meant is people can have access to news quicker. Now this is just affecting these closures of magazines, not just affecting video games. Obviously every magazine which covers a certain industry are being affected. You got newspapers, magazines and so forth. People like getting their news quicker, faster, easier kind of thing, more digestible perhaps. I understand that. That's the day and age which we live in. Don't get me wrong, the video games I learn a lot going down the years reading these magazines, but also I've got this channel myself, but I also there's bigger channels that I've learned a lot from, like Kim Justice, Angry Video Game Nerd, Retro RGT825, Slopes Game Room, Larry Bundy. There's a whole host of them. There's lots of other lovely channels, big and small. I learned from gameplay videos, review videos, news videos, things like that. Which I learned from. I come from an era of buying magazines. This before the internet was around, so magazines were the main source. Apart from these TV shows like say Games Master, Bad Influence. You had others bits, Thumb Bandits. There's quite a few of them from back in the day. You don't really do now. That's maybe a separate video. So these are the main ways of getting the information from back in the day. So I understand. I come from an era of that where we didn't have what we have now. And maybe I'm a diehard, all habits diehard, with magazines and so forth. I still like the smell of them, like the new magazines, and looking, ooh, what's in here kind of thing. Still a special feeling. But I understand people under a certain age might not have this, probably won't have this perspective I have. But as I say, I didn't get the GamesTM Games Master. But you're looking in where you usually get these magazines from. You can see over the years, this section minimalising kind of thing, and obviously that the shop is adapting, like a lot of them have to. The high streets and so forth are adapted with the times and so forth. Now again, that's another video perhaps, but so I understand basically why they're probably closing, because not a lot of people are buying these things. It's not a budget business for them. Maybe they could just go online only, have their separate channel if they don't have one already. And as I said, I never got a GamesTM or Games Master magazine, and we got a few over the years, but still preferred the ones I mentioned, like Mean Machines, computer video games, things like that. Obviously in America, Electronic Games Monthly, which I got now and again, and whatever else was available in America. So my question is, are you gonna miss these magazines? Did you ever buy Games Master or GamesTM? What are your memories of them? Things like that. What magazines do you buy now? What have I missed? Have I missed out on any magazines? Multiplats or anything else? Just let me know down below in the comment section below. As I mentioned at near the start of the video, I want to make a series of videos. Like how many of them? Because I still get magazines now. I'm still, like saying, from the era kind of thing. I still love the magazines. It's not just video games that buy magazines for, as you may kind of understand or whatever. I don't know. So want to at some point make videos on magazines I buy. So what other magazines do you buy? What else are you into? Things like that, But as I say, just any comments on the state of the magazines. Do you buy magazines? When did you stop buying them? If you did. Things like that, this is my passion I'm speaking of, the magazines about things I'm interested in. So let me know down below in the comment section down there, and if you have any comments or not, feel free to do so. I've just kind of said that in the same word, anyway. So just let me know, yeah. So yeah, just do that. And so thanks for your time, and thanks for watching, and tell your friends and everything. And in the words of the new Cyrus, send the word.